Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. All right. Alrighty, we are live from Cabot, Arkansas. And it is Sunday afternoon. Ready for more financial content? YouTube.com/coachstevemoney. You can scroll down. Most past live streams will be financial, but occasionally some video games. This show is answering your financial questions, and there are, 111 today for those, so 111 episodes, so plenty of time for me telling people they're doing it wrong on the Reddit. Music playlist has 10 Ramsey adjacent songs. Give those a listen if you're so inclined. And of course, the Ramsey Show After Show, and there are 379 of those, and number 380 will be Tuesday, and 381 will be on Thursday. That's the July 30 and August 1st. So 2 after shows coming up. All right, let's get into questions. I need advice. All right. That's what I can do. This is what we're here for. Woolen Big E need advice. Hi, everyone. Hi, guys. I'm in a bit of a predicament currently. Back in 2022, I got a really good job and was able to start making dents in my debt. Paid off 2 credit cards. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I opened it because, look, it's War and Peace here. So many details. Let's see. Let's go through it. Was able to save up. Bills paid off 2 credit cards. Bills were paid. Able to save up 4 months of emergency fund before things got fuzzy. Right. Well, what happened? You were not intentional anymore after being intentional for a little bit, paying off that debt. And then all of a sudden you chill out. And then before you know it, you're in trouble. August of 2022 comes around, a 25-year-old Drake says, hey, you can afford this truck you've been wanting, so why not get it? Is this AJ? AJ. I acquired the truck, still able to pay off debt, bills, and save money, so all was good in my world. You pay cash for it? October 22, diesel prices start going up drastically. I become uncomfortable, totes uncomf, with how much I'm having to spend per month on the truck between the note and the diesel. So, yep. So, hey, you can afford this truck you've been wanting, so why not get it? If you can't buy it in cash, then you cannot afford it if it's a vehicle. That is the rule here. And so, because I don't know if you heard of Dave Ramsey, he's the no debt guy. So, just in case this is your introduction to Mr. Ramsey, he's no debt. And if you're not making debt payments, then you have your money and you can pay cash for things or save it. How about that? Let's see. Having to spend on the truck. Uncomfortable with how much I'm having to spend per month on the truck between the note and the diesel prices. This is where I mess up. False. Where you messed up was originally taking out debt way in the beginning, and then you messed up again by saying, hey, you can afford this truck. So multiple mess uppings. But of course, a bunch of us have had multiple mess uppings, and it can be come back from. I decided to go against my mom's advice and I trade the truck in for a truck that has better gas mileage. What was the mom's advice? Doesn't say what the mom's advice was. The problem here is I thought I was able to afford going upside down on the truck, in which I was at the time. Right. Talk about able to afford. Unless you can pay cash for something, you can't afford it. New truck acquired and still able to Oh, you got another new truck. Oh, and probably rolled in negative equity. On yesterday's stream, there was a guy that posted he rolled in 4 times. Rolled in negative equity from 4 different vehicles. Crazy. People are crazy. New truck required still be able to maintain bills and debt payments, but little did I know things were about to take a turn for the worse. January 2023, company I work for decides to let go of 17 of us newer guys, and I was left in a state of panic and worry. Luckily, I was able to go back to work for my old boss, but the paying hours were nothing even close to what I was making. I blew through my emergency fund, paying my truck note. Yep, and other bills, and you just keep doing that rather than address the problem immediately by getting another job and working more or selling the truck. I was only working between 25 and 35 hours, netting 300 and 400 weekly. If I was lucky, I find another job after about 3 months of applying to job after job, and I'm making an okay wage currently. However, the 2 credit cards I was able to fully pay off got used again. Oh, just by themselves they got used again? No, that means you did it. That means you decided to do it. And I ended up right in the same boat I was prior to paying them off. Yeah, you doing it wrong. So current day I get paid bi-weekly. My truck note takes up all but 200 of my last of the month check. And depending on groceries and bills, I sometimes have a good chunk of money left over from the first of the month paycheck. My question is, how do I go about the truck note situation considering I owe more than it's worth? My credit is absolutely tanked and a cash car isn't affordable out of pocket at this time. Secondly, I've been considering going back to college. Too bad. To study civil engineering unless you get scholarship. Too bad. But I've been weary considering that I would have to have student loans. Yeah, no, you don't do that. And financial aid in order to make that possible. Do I wait on college? Yes. Or do I go through with it in hopes that I'm not in the, you don't go through anything in hopes of doing that where it regards spending money. You do not do that. How you get out of a underwater vehicle is you can see if you can get a loan for the difference, the amount that lets you get out of it so that you can pay it off between what you can sell it for and the amount you owe on it. And so, for example, Dave is fine with you having a $10,000 loan, you taking out a $10,000 loan to get rid of a freaking $40,000, $50,000 loan on a stupid new truck. Dave is fine with that. So that's how you get out of that. And then you have decreased your debt by 40,000 or 30,000, whatever the number is. And so, but yeah, you have to pay for college with cash, or again, you get grants, scholarships, that kind of thing. So apply to all those. But everything you're doing here is wrong. So let's play that one early, shall we?
If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know
Oh,
this.
that's the wrong one. Whoops. But that's fine too. Here's the one.
You're doing it wrong.
That's right, indeed. Oh, my hair got wet. Indeed, doing it wrong. All right, so you remember that time? So that's how you get out of the truck. And you remember that time when you were able to start making dents and debt and paid off 2 credit cards? You do it the same way, except faster. You cut expenses. You work more. You get a part-time job and work more. You sell any dumb stuff you bought with debt that you're not using regularly. And so you just got to hunker down and do it. But yeah, no college. You're not in a position. When you're talking about, I've been considering going back to college, you're not in a position to consider that. Again, unless you get somebody else to pay it, either scholarships, grants, some kind of work or study thing or something like that where your employer will pay for it. But other than that, you're not in a position to do that, sir. Or madam. I'm assuming it's a man. Sounds like men mistakes here. Although women can buy trucks, it happens. Johnson, Pension versus student loans. What up, Aslan? Apologize for missing you yesterday in the chat. Nobody was chatting, and I kind of forgot about the chat towards the end of the stream yesterday. Many apologies. Pension versus student loans. I have a small pension from a prior employer that can be cashed out in September. My wife has a private student loan at 14.5% interest rate, approximately $17,000. After taxes, fees, the cash out value of my pension is almost exactly the balance of the student loan. Our state laws make her debt my debt, so even in a divorce, okay, it would benefit me to pay it off. No, you still wouldn't do that. You still wouldn't do that because it's supposed to be for retirement. And so you generally don't pull from retirement. Although if you were going to roll the pension to something else anyway, let's say after taxes and fees, yeah, see, that's the problem. It's not just the taxes, it's also the fees to do that if you don't roll it to like an IRA or something like that. So that is the problem with that. How much is the balance? Oh, approximate 17K, and so that's what it would be there. And so yeah, generally that's not the advice because of the fees. Let's see. So what does it matter if it makes her debt your debt? Oh, so even in a divorce, right? So is a divorce looming? Why would you bring that up? State laws. Even in divorce, it would benefit me to have this paid off. Early 30s, if I take the pension at 65, it is estimated to be valued at 56K, which is pretty poor growth indeed. I'm debating on either cashing it out and paying off those student loans. Right. I mean, what you would do would be to roll it again to like a IRA or Roth IRA. And then by managed mutual funds with that, and beat the S&P 500 index, and not just dump it in the S&P 500 index and be satisfied with the 10%. You can make more. You're leaving money on the table by doing that. But regardless, that would be debating on either cashing out and paying off these student loans or cashing out and investing it. Yeah, and then you pay off the student loans. You put that in debt snowball. Guess what? You got the debt. You're on step 2. And so it doesn't say on here anywhere, or even in the Ramsey version of the baby steps, it doesn't say to cash out retirement to pay off student loans. Doesn't say that. I'll make far more than letting it sit as is. Right, agreed on that. Due to medical conditions, finances are tight, so paying it off early over time is unlikely. Also, paying it off would save us $400 per month, which we could use to snowball other debt. Any recommendations? Again, it would be to avoid the fees by rolling it to an IRA. That would be the advice on that, and then you just tighten the belt further in order to pay debt off quicker. "15-year-old planning..." What? 15-year-old planning for the future and 21-year-old planning for the future on different days, mind you. And 3 days ago and 2 days ago. Interesting. Let's see if it's the same advice. Yeah, I'm thinking about early habits. Bad habits lead to you. I can adopt at this age that can benefit me later in life. You don't take out loans for anything. I'm currently investing in the VIMVIP 500. That's a Vanguard's S&P 500 index fund, and I'm saving every dollar I make. And that's not for young adults, teenagers and young adults. The advice is you pile up cash until you graduate college debt free. So that way you have money for anything you might need, to buy a car in cash, to move out of parents' house, anything you might need the money for, and of course, paying cash for college if you need to do that. Let's see, mowing lawn, selling candy, washing cars. Okay, great. Do you guys have anything else other than saving and working a job that I could do to get an early head start when I'm older and be above the rest? Well, thinking about it at this point and trying to plan for it and trying to be intentional, that's a good sign. But let's see. Example, taking college classes, taking finance and investing class, driver's ed, all responses will be appreciated. Everybody wants to start investing early, and that's not the advice. The advice, again, is to make sure you have money. Because if this is I guess it wouldn't be a retirement account. It would probably just be and if at 15, you can't open one anyway, so must be a custodial account that your parents are managing for you, or worse, it's in their name. But again, you wouldn't do that. It's just in their name, and your name's not even on it, and so you wouldn't do that either. And so yeah, everybody wants to always jump the gun on everything and start investing from day one. When they're 15 years old, you can have plenty of time in the market, but you need to have cash available now. So, I mean, if it's in a brokerage account, I mean, you could take it out if you needed it. You would just have to pay taxes on the gains if it's not in a retirement account. But if this thing is in a Roth, which, I mean, I guess for a 15-year-old, if you were actually working and like documented working, but it seems like all the stuff you're doing might be under the table. And so at that point, you can't contribute to a retirement account at that point, tax advantaged one. But you can invest, obviously, if you have a custodial account with a parent on it as well. And it's no tax advantages to it, but you do still get to invest in that. All right, let's see what the difference is between that one and the 21-year-old. Might be the exact same thing. If in college, it's the same thing. You don't try to jump the gun and start investing. You make sure you have enough money to take care of expenses and, like cars, moving out of parents' house, and graduating college debt-free. Let's see, 21 and live in LA. That's either LA, California, or Louisiana, I assume. Never went to school, so no debt. Well, not everybody that goes to school gets debt, but all right. Have an e-commerce business that makes $30K a year, and that all for income. Apostrophe S, that's all for income. Live with family, $6,000 car, and $40,000 in cash. Am I doing things right? Any tips would be appreciated. If the car is, well, let's check it out. Let's see if he says about the $6,000 car. Just see if he no. See this person, girl with no prez, wants them to start investing immediately. And again, that's not the advice. But not going to college. So I mean, I guess if you're not going to be going to college, that's some money you don't need. But living with family, you would want to have enough to move out and be in the real world. And if you're an adult, Mr. Ramsey likes you to live not with mommy and daddy anymore. But if the $6,000 is a car loan, the answer would be to pay that off with the part of the $40,000 in cash. And so, I mean, you would at least, you have enough for an emergency fund in cash. 3 to 6, you said no debt, so 3 to 6 months, you follow the baby steps then. So again, if you're not going to do take the school route or trade school, college, none of that stuff is applying to you. Again, you'd want to have enough to move out when it comes time to do that. And again, according to Mr. Ramsey, that would be sooner rather than later if you're 21. So you would just do the baby steps. And so you already have $40,000. Even if this is a car loan, that might be just how much it's worth. But if it's a car loan, you would pay it off. It says no debt though, so assuming that's not, let's go ahead and be optimistic and say there's no debt for this 21-year-old. And so you got 40,000. And so you would set aside 3 to 6 months of expenses. And on top of that, you could have separate moving fund if you wanted to. Other than that, you put it in a high yield savings account. You can start baby step 4 as well. If you put aside the emergency fund, and then you start doing 4, 5, and 6 at the same time. I'm assuming no children and living with family. I'm assuming no mortgage, so you would just be investing in the retirement account. 15% of gross income into retirement. And then actually, I mean, it's baby step 7, but you haven't even moved out of parents' house yet. So I wouldn't invest more than 15% until you get out into the world and you see how the world is and how it treats you and how expensive it is and so forth, before you invest more than 15. So yeah, different stages, different situations and so forth. So it is different advice. So for one, it's don't do the baby steps yet. As far as starting investing, you don't start on that. Even if you don't have any debt and you have savings already, enough for an emergency fund. For the 15-year-old, for the 21-year-old, no, it's not going to school. I get you do the baby steps then. Refurb or pay off mortgage. Sarah here now had another question from her on yesterday's stream. Refurb or pay off mortgage. I'm getting my first house. I have enough to get the house and pay off my mortgage. I have no debt. The mortgage would be 3 years wage after tax. Should I refurb the house? It's old, but it's livable. The windows, roof, and walls are okay. Or should I put every penny into paying it off? Pay it off. If you would immediately need to refurbish, maybe you don't get that house then. Well, you get a different house that doesn't need to be refurbed. How about that? So, I mean, people get locked into like one thing that they think is a good idea and they just can't think clearly about other stuff. So why would you do and it could be cheaper to get a house that is newer and doesn't need to be refurbed than you buying that house and having to refurb it. So I mean, but it's livable. So that would be the challenge there, to even decide if you should even buy that house. But I would pay it off before doing any kind of remodeling or anything like that. If it needs repairs, you just do the repairs. But for example, if the sink is leaking, something like that, you have a leak in the bathroom, something like that, you fix the leak. You don't redo the entire bathroom, because that's not needed to do. So you wait until you pay off the entire mortgage. Okay, Owl 8362, 35K student loan. So I graduated college about 7 months ago. Okay, graduated. My time to pay student loans has come, and I'm trying to figure out if it's best to keep each loan separate or consolidate it to one. My first loan, there's no need to do that, especially if it'll be a fee to it. It's and also Dave calls it consolidation because it makes you think you've done something and you haven't done anything except move it around, or just, if you're like making it into one loan, you're just piling it all together, and that makes you think you've done something. It also generally gives you a month off maybe from paying. And so that's not the idea. The idea is that you pay them off as quickly as possible. And guess what? Keeping them as separate loans and smaller amounts, that would cause the normal human to be more excited about it, getting them paid off faster. And then you get that adrenaline rush and say, oh, I can do this. And that's more motivation to keep with the plan, instead of if you have the biggest, the big amount of all of them all at the same time, and then it doesn't get paid off for years. Let's see, first loan is $290, $938, a $290 student loan. 938, 1003, and 1209. It keeps going up from there with the highest loan, 5569. Yeah, you would knock out that 290. Guess what? Guess when you do that? Guess when you do that? Do you know when you do that? You do that today. Hopefully you have 290 in the bank, and you do that. And even if a lot of people love to say the even if. Oh, I got one for that. I forgot I had this ready to go. So this would be like if the guy called up and said, should I pay off the $290 student loan, or should I keep my money in the high yield savings account making interest? Let's see, maybe I can do this. Where's Dave? Where's Dave hiding? Here he is.
Write a check today and pay off the credit card and cut it up.
Even though it's 2.99.
Today,
Huh?
you're not going to borrow money on a credit card to build wealth. Today, stop this. Stop playing with this dadgum debt. It's not been your friend. It's still not your friend. The faster you get rid of the debt, the faster you build wealth.
That's right. So this person's credit card, though, not trying to keep money in savings, but it's all the same. So yeah, that would be pay it off today. So you heard my boy trying to come off with the even if in my little situation with this little thing that I think changes the advice, but it doesn't change the advice. And Dave didn't answer him. He just said today again. People do need to be yelled at. Priority _ should I hold my money for a house or buy a Tesla? What do you want? I think we did this when sometimes the questions get out of order. Although it shouldn't, because we started with a 3-day-old question and this is a 2-day-old question. It's possible, but it sounds familiar. Let's see. Background, 25 years old, and recently became debt-free with my mother about 2 years ago using Dave's plan. Okay. Hopefully just at the same time as mother. Hopefully you don't have finances combined with mother like you're married. I learned about Dave before my mother and taught my mom about him. Great. Oh, that's great. Okay. We decided to combine our debts and pay them off. All right. Not generally advised to do that, but I mean, if they're all paid off now, it's already done, and so you start where you are today. And if that's debt free, that's great. I agreed to combine our debts and pay them off. If she agreed to help me save $50,000 for a down payment on a home, how is she going to help you do that? We've reached that goal of saving $50K. Well, however she was going to help, she helped, I guess. And I plan to move out soon. The thing is, I do not want to move from living with my parents to directly owning, paying for a mortgage for a house. Yeah, that is kind of an adult thing to do. And 25, Dave would like you to be living on your own, even if it's renting. You can try renting first, and while you get used to being an adult and not living with mommy and daddy anymore. And so you can rent first, but in general, say none of that was involved and you said, should I hold my money for a house or buy a Tesla? Again, you're putting that would be the same thing as you saying, should I hold my money for a red house with a green roof, with a big backyard and blah, blah, blah. You know, you're painting yourself into a corner with the specifics. And so why is it automatically a Tesla? But it depends on what you want the most. If you're not going to move out, you don't need to buy a house. If you're talking about saving it for a house, again, that's up to you. What do you want more? Do you want to have a freaking Tesla? Or do you want to have a house faster? So that's up to you. It doesn't sound like you want to move away from parents' house, but like in general, you're asking one or the other. You get to decide that. Only you can do that. Decide it. Only you should decide it because it's your money. It's your life. Anybody you ask doesn't have to fork over that money and have one or the other, with the other one taking longer to get, if you plan on having both eventually. Right, J-Boy 95. Pay of car loans. Pay off. Forgot the F there. Or keep money in high yield savings account. Again, this is credit cards in this call, but it's the same.
Write a check today and pay off the credit card and cut it up.
Even though it's 2.9.
Even though it's
Today.
interest. Yeah, no. No. You're doing it wrong. Let's see. But monthly interest payouts are $125. We both have car loans that, yeah, you pay them off. Pay them off. You don't keep extra savings while you have debt. You have $1,000 in. See, let's read the baby steps again, shall we? $1,000 starter emergency fund. Baby step 1, right? $1,000. Doesn't say add more to that. Put more in a high yield savings account while you have other debt. It does not say that there, nor does it say that in the official Ramsey baby steps wording either. Does not say do that in there. Why would you assume you would do that then? Have the money to pay them off, but like having a big nest egg, because we live in an old house, you never know what you have to drop off. I mean, you know, you can do whatever you want to, but then why do you go on the Dave Ramsey subreddit and ask about it? If you are fine doing this, what you want to do, but you're asking, so the advice is to not do that dumb crap. And are also hoping to start a journey with kids in a year. Some main question is, should I pay off the cars? Yes. Or keep the money in a high yield savings account? No. The interest doesn't matter. Interest doesn't matter. That is an ad that is masquerading as a post. Quick Dagger. Should I sell off some stock to pay the house off the house? You should sell single stock anyway if it's not in a retirement account. If it's in a retirement account, you should still sell it, but you leave it inside the retirement account and buy a managed mutual fund with it. Hey all, been trying to call on the show with no success, so I thought I'd chip my question here. All right. Is that something new the kids are saying? Chip in a question instead of asking a question? Or put my question? Maybe some other word there. My wife, 25, and I, 26, had our first child 2 months ago. As we're settling into our roles as new parents, our priorities are shifting. My wife has expressed the desire to be a stay-at-home mom, which I'm completely supportive of. I make gross $57,000 a year. Wife makes 40, and if she does stay at home, I don't think we would be able to afford both our $1,200 a month mortgage and save money outside of 15% to Roth 401k. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to say, well, I mean, I guess it would put you... Yeah, no, you're not supposed to save more than the full emergency fund until you pay off the house anyway. So that would be up to you what you do with it, but the advice would be to not have single stocks anyway. You know, a lot of people say, well, what if it's Apple? Well, I have Apple stock, but it's inside a mutual fund. And so, you know, I get it. It's had a great run. Especially if you got it early, you made some killer money there, dog. But it's not the advice. Single stocks, too volatile. Not enough diversity. So the answer would be sell it regardless. If it's in a retirement account, you just buy mutual funds with it, with the money. If it's in just a brokerage account that you would just have to pay taxes on the growth on, then yeah, you can sell it and use the money for whatever you want to. And if the mortgage is the only debt, then that's what you would do. Let's just see. I'm just curious because it doesn't say we don't have any debt other than the mortgage. Boom, 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 boom. 220,000 in brokerage account. Okay, so assuming that's not retirement, so yeah, you would sell it, and then you can use the money. Sell off enough of it. Okay. Is there any other debt? The only other cash we really saved is emergency fund of 20,000. Okay, great. The only other debt we have was from the birth of the baby, which we will have paid next month. Okay. Edit. Thank you all of your responses. You've given us a lot to talk about. Okay, great. All right. So yeah, you would sell that off regardless. And since it's just in a brokerage account, you can cash it out as well. And you could actually do that and pay off the medical for the baby. You can pay that off earlier rather than waiting till next month's paychecks to do it. But whatever. So it sounds like they'll be all right. So yeah, that's what you should do. And of course, obviously, being on step 7 is going to make it possible for couples to do things like wife all of a sudden staying home and being a stay-at-home mom instead of working. And that sometimes is not able to happen if, say, for example, wife had signed up for a student loan or multiple student loans when she was 18. Because people don't think about that when they're signing for the student loans. They don't think about, oh, I might want to stay home with my babies one day. They don't think about that. All right, special leader 2907, difference between SSI and Social Security benefits, asset limits, and eligibility. All right, so I did notice this earlier when I was scrolling down to it, so I went ahead and prepped. I know, what have I done with the real Coach Steve Money? But I Googled it, and the AI overview of it, thank you AI, the supplemental Social Security income and Social Security are both programs that provide benefits to people. They differ in several ways. Benefits, SSI, monthly payments to people with limited income and resources who are 65 or older or blind and have a disability of any age. Social Security provides 5 types of benefits, including retirement, disability, survivors, and Medicare. The eligibility, let's see, SSI, active duty, honorably discharged, spouse, surviving spouse, dependent child of certain U.S. military personnel, 65 or older, blind, disability, have limited income and resources, meet other eligibility requirements. So some what is it called? Some limitations may apply or something like that. To be eligible for Social Security retirement benefits, you might be 62 or older and have worked and paid Social Security taxes for 10 years or more. Alrighty. May be paid to you and certain members of your family if you are, quote, insured, meaning you work long enough and paid Social Security taxes, which, yes, they do take that out. Government do take a bite, don't you? So that is, well, let's see that. I know SSI does have an asset limit. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, Social Security benefits have an asset limit? I don't think so. I don't think so. You would have to like Google specifically what your question is. All right. Well, fine. You talk me into doing it. Social Security. So this is not. Is it Social Security or the SSI they're asking about? For SSI does have it for asset limit. Okay. Yeah, that does, because that is not like directly related to you actually working and paying taxes on Social Security. Having Social Security deducted out of your paycheck. Come on, Social Security, and then What we're looking at? Oh, asset limit. I don't know if it does. Let's see. Oh, maybe. The monthly maximum federal amounts for 2024 $943 for an eligible individual. That's SSI. Security cap. 168,600. So if you earned more than this last year, you didn't have to pay the Social Security payroll tax on the amount that exceeds the limit. Oh, okay, so they can only do that, but asset limit. So maybe this is why the person was asking, because the Google and the AI overview was no good. The asset limit, there we go, for SSI, supplemental security income, is $2,000 for individuals and $3,000 for couples. Okay, so you're not going to qualify for that then. But it wasn't the SSI that they were asking about. It was again, that's SSI, not just Social Security. How much money can you have if you are on Social Security? That's again SSI. So it's not saying, like I said, I haven't heard that it matters. I haven't heard of anything like that. How much cash can you have? Again, it's going to say SSI, I bet. Oh, the max, that's the max benefit is what that's thinks we want to know. Asset reserves are scheduled to be, yep, 2033, your asset reserves are scheduled to be depleted. And then after that, guess what they'll do? They'll just borrow more money, unless, you know, the United States is over by that time, and then don't have to worry about it. So yeah, it's only saying asset stuff about SSI, not about the general Social Security. So I don't know. You might have to call and ask them, since the Google AI is useless for that. Yeah, often see SSI mentioned, hashtag mentioned. And so I would have to believe that it doesn't exist for that. You put it in, so that means you're eligible for it. I would assume. Of course, you never know. Government do put crazy stuff in laws. Key ad 5197, budgeting and saving. So lately, the more I listen to the show, the more my phone and phone plan has been irking me. LOL. Yep. Yep. That's not what we want to do. No thanks. 3 months of it's on $15, but the regular plan without that, come on, is 20, I think. That's your new customer offer. So this is for regular. So if you pay 12 months in advance, it's $15 per month for 5 gigabytes, 20 for 15 gigabytes. So, and also you don't freaking finance $1,000 iPhone, and that's on your bill as well, because that can jack that monthly price up as well. You get like a $200 at most smartphone is fine, and then you get like one of these plans. There's other cheaper servicers there, and of course Mint Mobile is actually owned not just using their towers, but actually, I think it was always a subsidiary, but actually is now officially a part of T-Mobile. And Ryan Reynolds owns it still, I think. I know he's still in being in commercials for it, so maybe they worked out some kind of deal. But yeah, $15 sounds a lot better than $50, doesn't it, for the same amount of data? Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. I'm in Canada A with Rogers Mobile. I have an iPhone, so I don't know if it is available in Canada. That's where Ryan Reynolds is from. Speaking of Ryan, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine out now. I have an iPhone. Yep, that will irk you because that's not going to be cheap. And so does my wife. Just lately, the monthly payment comes out, and it bugs me how expensive it is to have a phone now. No, it's not expensive to have a phone now. It's expensive the way you're doing it. I mean, I don't want to pretend to be an expert on Canada stuff, but I would imagine there is a... Well, let's see. Let's just find out. Is... Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Mobile. I need a Jamie or somebody, a assistant to do my Googling for me. Mint Mobile. Available in Blame Canada. Free roaming in Canada now available on Mint plans. Mint Mobile rolls out free roaming, so I'm assuming it's available there. So congratulations, connects. All good. Paying monthly to essentially lease the phone. Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's what kicks it up too, as well. So, and guess who agreed to do that? You did that. Instead of saying, oh no, I'll just buy a cheaper phone in cash instead of leasing a freaking phone. So that was your fault. So don't do that anymore. With option to purchase outright at the end of 2 years for $590 a phone. So you still gotta buy it? Oh, okay. So yeah, I know what's going on here. We're near the 2-year mark, so either return the phone or return it and buy $200 phones in cash. And if they're not iPhones, tough. Get an Android phone. With these choices in the past, I would trade the phone in and get new and continue the cycle. Right. That's what they want you to do. They want you to lease it like that, so you're getting a new one every single year. Yeah, they want you to do that. Or every 2-year period. They want you to get a new one. Yeah, they do. So break the cycle. Don't do that. Switch to Android if you have to buy a $200 phone or less. And go to Mint Mobile, and then you won't be paying. Does it say how much? It didn't say how much the bill was. So yeah, so you're leasing it for 2 years, so you're paying leasing on it, and then on top of that, to own the phone, you have to pay $590 per phone. That is crazy. And of course, when you do that, when you're leasing it, well, it's small monthly payments. So I'll just go ahead and get the newest, most expensive iPhone. And that, of course, is what they, again, want you to do. And a lot of times the right thing to do is not what they want you to do. Meaning, anybody that is in business. Saki Bug, how can I invest a big lump sum of money? You just invest it. The same as you would if it was only $1. I'm not understanding the question. You would not save up a lump sum of money to do that, but if you are, like, for example, inherited or given a big lump sum at the same time, you can certainly invest it all at the same time. Oh, I will close on the sale of a house shortly, and we'll have about $100K in profit. We will not need to pay taxes as it was my primary home. Okay, yep, and if you do a 1-for-1 there, if you sell a house and then you buy another house, get another mortgage, or even just buy the house, then you don't have to pay taxes on it. How can I invest all of this money at once? You can have when you get it, you can just send it out of your bank account. You put it in your bank account, and then you can send it to the brokerage of your choice. Let's see, I don't want to do an IRA since there's a set limit on it. I already maxed my employer 401k for the year. I don't want that amount sitting in my savings account. Thanks in advance. Yeah, I mean, you can see if they will, the bank that would be sending you the money can just, if they can wire it directly to a brokerage, then you just put in a regular brokerage account since you don't want to do an IRA. And so you just want to keep investing on it, and then that way you can take it out whenever you want and only have to pay taxes on any gains. And so, yep, that's how you would do it. But yeah, if you don't want to put it in any of your accounts first, you can see if they will just send it straight to your account at that brokerage. Which maybe they might do that, they might not. Depends on who would be sending you the money. Less employer 738. Debt payoff with estate. Hi everybody, I'm in a bind. Just received my inheritance check for $150K. That doesn't sound like a bind. That part doesn't. To most, this is great news, and they know where to put it. But I'm conflicted. I have a student loan of $55K with my uncle, who is in the late stages of his life. I have a car loan, but I'm needing another car since I got in a car accident last year, and I have no idea how much longer until that will be resolved. My credit cards are maxed due to bills and other dumb choices of my past. Part of me wants to take half and get rid of the debt and get a car that is not new but is going to last. That would be it. That would be it. What you do with any money, including inheritance checks, some people think that, oh, well, that changes if it's a big amount. Nope. You just go through the baby steps with it. If you have debt, you start with, you still start with the $1,000 emergency fund. If you don't already have $1,000 in savings, and then you would pay off debt, smallest to largest, and then you would keep enough for 3 to 6 months of expenses, and you just keep going down the baby steps with the money as long as that money lasts. And then when it's done, then you just continue the baby steps on your income. But yeah, no new cars unless you're a millionaire. 150K is not a millionaire. So, I mean, that's great. Definitely make it a blessing by using it to pay off all of your debt and buy a car in cash. That was going to do that. And so if that's only going to take a half of it, then you can, and you already have money set aside some of that money for baby step 3, full emergency fund. And then after that, then that's when you would invest. Let me see what his person is talking about doing. Invest. Is this the smartest move? Yeah, make sure you go through the baby steps and do it in that order, though. I just want to not worry about debt and start building a future. Well, the way you don't worry about debt is if you pay it off and don't ever take any more, which is part of baby step 0. Forthcoming, keep threatening to make a video with the missing baby steps, which is step 0, which has a lot of components with it. And of course, baby step 3B, which is between 3 and 4, and that is saving for down payment. All right. Forgot my water. That's all right. I'll live. Savings rate. Happy Dwarf 17. All right. How does the Ramsey team calculate savings rate? I've always used gross income because tax advantages of 401k and health insurance needs to be factored in, but I think 25% of gross income for housing and 15% saving would just be an insane set of numbers pending tax rate. It is not. It's 25% of net income, of take-home pay income for housing. And it's 15% of gross income for retirement. That's way too much on housing, right? That's why it's take-home pay, not gross income. Retire. Think about it like this. Here's how you can remember it. Because what would Dave want you to do? He would want you to have more in retirement, so that would be based on gross, and he would want you not to be house poor, not to buy too much house. So that is take-home, based on take-home pay, not gross. If using take-home, how do you factor in traditional 401k and health insurance into your savings rate? Take-home pay is with that out of there already. So you can just use the actual take-home pay amount. So, or you can make it difficult on yourself and factor in other things if you want to, but that's min-maxing, as we used to call it in the MMO game. Massively multiplayer online role-playing games, where that is where you would work for months and months and months on something, and farm and get the game's currency and so forth, or you would get all the things to build an item, and that's months and months and months again of stuff, and then what that gives you is a 0.001 more damage rate. So not worth generally, but we did it anyway. Didn't have any, only wasted billions of hours on that probably. Etherbox 8994 every dollar. Hi guys, hi guys. I'm in Australia. Hi guys. Used to use the Every Dollar app about 2 years ago. Went to go start using the premium version, and it seems my bank isn't supported. Apparently all banks have been dropped. Does anyone know if they are going to re-add Australian banks at all? Thank you. Oi, oi, oi. No, I'm surprised that you were able to connect it to your bank previously. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I think this person might be fronting. I don't know. But as far as I know, that never happened or with other countries. Other countries have a problem with Dave because he calls his course Financial Peace University. Let's see. War Environmental 667. How much do you guys stick with the $1,000 in saving? Well, if you... Again, with two of the same question, basically. Well, they were different situations. The ones from the 15-year-old and 21-year-old, different circumstances. But how much do you guys stick with $1,000 in savings, and how rigid were you with the baby steps and motivation tips? And so, two people here trying to improve on the baby steps. Two people in a row. All right, let's take them one by one here. Okay, guys. Hi, guys. So I'm in baby step 2. However, I just went to the dentist for the first time in a few years. My fault, I know. Yes. I needed a fair amount of work. Yep. And so that's not Dave's fault. So if you did the stuff that you were supposed to do, you would not have needed the over the $1,000. So in this particular one case, is your fault. How do you guys grapple with this? You would use the emergency fund, $1,000, and you cash flow the rest, work out payments with the dentist office, and then you replenish, once that's paid up, then you replenish the $1,000 emergency fund, which is all you have while you're paying off debt. This is when $1,000 emergency saving doesn't seem realistic to me. It's not supposed to cover every single emergency you would have, especially ones that are because of your dumb butt self. Not keeping up with your dental work. And so that's your dumb fault for that. So you can't blame Dave for that, but even if it was something else that it was completely out of your control, the advice is still $1,000. It's not supposed to be enough to make you feel comfortable. You are supposed to be scared. You are supposed to be scared so that you are motivated to freaking get your debt paid off so that then all your money can be applied for your dumb butt stuff or any emergencies. I agree with almost every one of Dave's teaching except this one. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to. Again, people can do whatever they want to. People do have $2,000 and $3,000 in savings. Instead, they have more than $1,000 and they do that. And you can do that without having to get validation from other people on it. Or to see if, just to make sure there's other people doing it too, so I'm not the only one. So, why do you need validation from other people? I don't get it. Don't understand. But certainly there's people that do not just do the baby steps as written, obviously. Maybe even most of them. See, most people won't even do the baby steps at all. And then of course you do get your amount of people, and the amount of people not doing it correctly may outnumber the people doing it correctly. It's very likely. People like to do their own thing. They like to try to improve on things that have been proven instead of doing it the way it was proven. They want to break new ground and do something that hasn't been proven instead. Heavy as the crane. How rigid were you? The baby steps and motivation tips. Then listen to the Ramsey show let's see what this person has a problem with. Most likely 8 months now, and I was wondering how rigid everyone has been in their journey. Phrasing. Ramsey tends to be black and white. Yep, and say they did Ramsey-ish. Yeah, because that's what you're doing. If you're not taking his advice, you are being Ramsey-ish. You're not doing exactly like he says to do it. What's the problem with him saying that? Because that is an accurate assessment of the situation. So I don't get it. Or they didn't do his method if it wasn't exactly by the book he lays out, and that's true as well. So, but again, what's the problem with it? If you want to do it differently, it's your money and your life. You can do whatever you want to, and you don't have to run it through Dave, and you don't have to change him and have him not say people aren't taking his advice when they're not taking his advice. I don't understand. People are nutty. If you want to do it differently, do it differently. And you don't have to run it by Reddit or compare it to Dave's advice or you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to try to get him to change. You can just do what you want to do. So did you stick to baby step 1 of 1K, or did you have more than that first baby step? Guess what? I did the baby steps as it says right here. That's what's been proven. Your way of doing it for whichever steps. With baby step 2, did you follow that snowball method, or do you avalanche method, or a mix? Yeah, that way there's no data on that crap to see if it works. It's possible that it does work for some people, but I would think in general, like 99% of the time, probably this way, doing it his way, makes you get through the baby steps as fast as possible. Doing it other ways, for example, saving up a larger starter emergency fund, that makes it take longer until you pay off your debt. Saving up more than 6 months of expenses makes it take longer until you get to step 7. Investing more than 15% makes it take longer until your mortgage is paid off and you get to step 7. See, everything you're doing here is bad when you want to try to change stuff. It's perfect the way it is. You can do whatever you want to, but you don't have to get validation from Dave or Reddit or anybody else. You can just do what you want to do. Only on baby step 2, though, we had a car emergency, so we'll be replenishing our 1K this upcoming month. Let's see what other nonsense there is. Like I know the Ramsey team would say to throw all extra cash at debt. That's correct. But having the physical cash gives me some peace of mind. You're not supposed to have peace of mind. You have debt. You will have peace of mind once you don't have any debt and all of your income is going towards your expenses and your emergency fund or your retirement or paying off your mortgage or saving for your kid college or going to fund stuff that you budget even. Can fall on that physical cash. Yeah, it's not the early baby steps when you have debt. You don't get that if you're following Dave's advice. So, and you know, if you don't want like that, you don't have to follow his advice. Also, my husband and I paid off a bit over 2K. It feels slow going. In what ways do you stay motivated when the progress feels slow? That you quit trying to do it wrong. I mean, if you're not doing it right, and part of doing it right is in baby steps 1, 2, and 3, you are working extra jobs. You are not eating out. You're working more. You are spending less. Cut everything, all non-essentials out of the budget. It's only for a hashtag season while you're doing that. And then once you have no debt and the full emergency fund, guess what? Then you'll be comfortable. That'll be pretty peaceful, I bet. I know it was for me when I was in step 3 for the first time. Or haven't been in step 3 multiple times, but when I got to baby step 3 at all. So yeah. And so so that's the thing, you know, well, it seems slow. You're doing it wrong. Try doing it right. Try being rigid with it and see if you get better results. People, man, I don't get it. Don't get it. So wants to do it their own way, but also wants faster results too. So, yeah, that's about right. That's about right for the average human. Let's see what this one is. Rolling credit cards into each other. And that is how you get into trouble. Because guess what? Eventually, all the cards get maxed and they won't give you any more. So that is pretty stupid. Credit card with 14% interest currently is maxed at $20,000. I have a smaller card with 30% interest, maxed at $3,600. If I snowball, I pay extra to the smaller one. Correct. Even with extra money, it will take 9 months to pay it off. Would it be better to get even more extra money? It would be better to cut your budget even more than it is right now. It would be better to sell dumb stuff that you have. If you have an expensive car payment, you would sell that and get a beater while you are in baby steps 2 and 3. Payment money, would it be better to, it would be better to follow the baby steps as written. How about that? That would be a great idea. You do not pay money to the larger card. Just says using the debt snowball method, smallest to largest. It says it right here. Does it say it smallest to largest here? No, it just says debt snowball, but that is smallest to largest. So, but on here it does say smallest to largest. So, what's the question? When the smaller card balance reaches the available limit on the larger one, roll the smaller one. No, you're not moving. You're not playing a shell game with the debt. You're not moving it around. That makes you think you've done something and you haven't done crap until you pay it off. So just pay it off. And so, referring to the last question, be rigid on the baby steps. Do it like it says. Don't try to improve it. Don't take shortcuts that aren't really shortcuts. They just make it take longer for you to get through the baby steps. Let's see, throwaway 82311. How bad are the taxes in California? Yay. And should I seriously consider moving out of this socialist hellhole? I guess SOC, Southern California, maybe that means. Or stand for socialist. They're pretty bad, and yes, you should move out of there. Move to America instead. But if you're voting California way, don't vote that way elsewhere, or you'll just turn elsewhere into California. Then you'll have to leave there too. Eventually you run out of places. Sunchi 12. How do I get rid of debt and optimize retirement? You don't. You don't. Again, people want to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And, you know, I'm assuming, and maybe I shouldn't assume this, but if you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, if you're familiar with him, perhaps you know he has baby steps and perhaps you read them, and somehow, how did you come up with optimized retirement when debt is part of baby step 2? Debt is baby step 2, paying off all debts, all consumer debt, rather. All non-mortgage debt. That's consumer debt. And so that's baby step 2. And now baby step 4 is where it says investing. And so what makes you think that you would do step 2 and 4 at the same time? You do not. Steps 1, 2, and 3, one at a time in order. I do have that in my crawl as well, down at the bottom of the stream. Because some people get that wrong. Again, they don't understand. And I say it every stream. To me, I look at a list and I say, okay, you do step 1 first and then check. And you don't move on to the second one until you have that one done. So it would more need to be told to me not do steps 1, 2, and 3 in order one at a time. It would more be having to be told, but I could probably figure it out on steps 4, 5, and 6 that you wouldn't just do 15% of gross income into retirement, because that one never ends. And so I would imagine, well, you're also saving for kids' college. But then logically, I would say, well, you wouldn't have $300,000 or whatever it is you think your kid college is going to take. You wouldn't do that before paying off the extra on the mortgage as well. So you would do all 3 of those at the same time. I could probably get there logically. Of course, Ramsey certified financial coach, and so of course I do know that, and I watch the show pretty much every day. And so of course I do know that, but it's just not logical. So I don't get why people would do that. But having debt and keeping the debt around and investing more because it's a higher rate of return on the retirement investing, people just do that math and they think that's what you're supposed to do, because it's even, I mean, I've heard people argue about it even if it was less than 1% difference in the interest rate on the debt and on what you would be making in the market. And so people have argued about even that. But even if it's 5% more, the advice doesn't change. It's still, you do step 2 first. You don't even think about investing. If you find Dave's advice and then you want to start the baby steps and you're already investing, you stop investing while you are doing steps 1, 2, and 3. And then once you're done with that #season, then that's when you get back into investing. Let's see. I'm debating if I should do the 10 years personal student loan forgiveness for student loans. It's not if you should do it. The problem is not doing it. The problem is getting it approved. It's not guaranteed. You pay out the balance and don't worry about it. I found higher paying travel jobs, which is short-term contracts, but pay more than my hourly with my current company. Baby step 1. You're on baby step 1. You're worried about 4 already. And so you don't do that. And how you get rid of debt is you do not spend money on anything else except paying off your debt. How about that? Well, approximately 5.99 interest, and there's that period after that, and then income is 140K. So yeah, you would pay off all your loans, and then start investing, and then start working on that mortgage, and of course kid college. Baby steps in order. Oh my goodness, out of questions. All right, hopefully that will replenish by the time I do the Tuesday after show. After shows this coming Tuesday and Thursday, July 30th and August first. If not, I'll get some. I'll pull some questions from the Facebook group, the Ramsey Baby Steps community, which is run by Ramsey Solutions. This subreddit is not run by Dave, so a lot of people do post on here asking, hoping Dave sees this. Dave doesn't not a fan of the Reddit, and they don't do that. This is run by Ramsey fans. And oh, look, they do have a wiki in there. I wonder if that says do the baby steps like it says to do it on there. Maybe. It might. Which should be paid off first? Well, it says right here, pay off debts from smallest to largest using debt snowball method. Next question. I have a friend who would like to be debt-free. They lease their car and still have 7.8K in payments left over the next 2 years. The buyout on the car is 15K, and doing this would eliminate around $325 payment per month. There's also a student loan of 30K. So 7.8 is less than 30K. Friend would need to save around 10K, money on top of the emergency fund, right, to comfortably buy out this car as it's viewed as a good long-term vehicle. It doesn't matter how it's viewed. The quickest way to do that would be to get out of the car, see what the penalty is for getting out of the car, and then you buy a beater while you're still working on that debt. Company buy out this car's view is good. My thought is that the best strategy is to buy out the car in full first, so $325 in monthly payments is freed up. That would be paid before any money would be put on the student loan, because it's smallest to largest, and that's balance owed, not interest rate or payment amount. That is balance owed, smallest balance owed, and that would be still to the car, even if you were going to do the buyout right now and keep it. And with that additional monthly cash flow, tackle the student loan. Yep. If those are the only two loans, yes. Yep. That would be it. That one was easy. All right, let's resort and then and see if there's another one been added since I started. No. Hey, how about that? Aggravating bench 552. Early retirement. Am I on track to retire early? Hey everyone. Hi guys. Hoping to gain insight from those who've achieved FI, financial independence, as well as those who are potentially in a similar position. I've been keen, there's no E at the end of keen. There's a city called Keene with the E on the end. On the idea of early retirement the past couple years and hoping I'm ahead of the curve. Age 34, 401k, 422k brokerage, 288 savings, 100k Roth IRA, 15k opened 2 years ago. All the IRA opened 2 years ago, which started sooner, of course. And the reason he does is why Roth is the second best option on investing. The first is match, because that's 100% rate of return. Next best is Roth because it's tax-free growth on there. Let's see, mortgage was paid off recently. Great. No other debt. Wife and I maintain separate accounts, doing it wrong. However, now the mortgage is paid off, we're going to use these monthly contributions to aggressively invest in the brokerage account. Okay, if you're on step 7, you can invest whatever you want, so that is fine. Was fortunate to land a sales role, start my career, and I've always been a diligent saver. I set a goal years ago to have the ability to retire at age 50, but now more interested to see how many more years I could shave off if we continue to be financially disciplined. For the most part, I've maintained the responsibility of saving for our future, so anything my wife accumulates in her 401k IRA will be icing on the cake, gravy on the biscuit, that kind of thing. So just extra. So Depends on what we don't. You didn't say what your expenses are, so you would start there to see if you could retire today, which you probably wouldn't do. At 34, you probably wouldn't do. But yeah, you would just run the numbers. You can put any numbers you have. Let's see. So like, for example, you have 422 and 288 in brokerage. So say you have both of those. Let's pretend you have both of those. And the you using that for retirement, even though the brokerage isn't a tax advantage retirement account. Let's pretend you're doing that, and that makes it a nice even let's just use 700K for that, and then that way you can spend a little bit of the money out of the brokerage account as well. So what I say we're going to do, $700,000. How old did he say he was? 34. And this is at free tool at ramseysolutions.com, and then free tools, and then investment calculator and credit. I forgot how many ages he was. 34, that's right. So 34, and first, why not? Let's just go with 40. Actually, that doesn't, whoops. That's only 6 years, so the money's not going to double by then. So let's say 45 instead of 50, retiring at 50. And we said we're going to give him 700K. I would think that you would be fine, even if doing 0 monthly. And then put in 10% for that. And so in the 11 years, you would have 1393, 352. So you would have 2 million in 11 years. You would have $2 million. And so the 2 million that generates 200. If it's $2,993,000, that generates $209,000 a year. So if your expenses are less than that, then that's fine. I don't think he said. Did he say his income? Boom, ba-dum, boom, boom. So, and with being on step 7 with the mortgage paid off, assuming now, 103K. So this is twice as much as you're making right now, pretty much. I think, was that 2? Yeah, 2. Yeah, about twice as much. Slightly more. And so that's even without adding to it any. So if you only add $100, that's a little bit more. That's another a little bit more. So if you add $500 a month, it takes you to $2,212,000. So anything you add to it is going to make it even better. So you probably can retire that early, but I wouldn't recommend like trying to retire right now. Because if you did that, even if you consider both of these together, 700,000 only generates 70,000 a year, and you're making 103K now. So I would probably work another 10 years at least to 44, at least to 45, something like that, at least, and then maybe even work extra then, and then maybe do a half retirement where you can, I don't know, start something like a YouTube channel or something like that, and do that. Do something that you're doing that's fun for you, and also that brings in some money, so you're not bored at home all the time. There's only so many shows before you get tired of watching. But so you could probably do that, like I said, around 45. I don't know if I'd be comfortable advising that you do it earlier than that. And of course, why not work at least part-time? You know, at least until 50. I know you don't want to do that. I know that's the whole fixed income retire early thing. There we go. Hey, they keep coming. Invest 43% of my 72K income. Use credit cards for nearly every purchase, and I've never paid a cent in interest. While also getting $100 cash back, excuse me, over my life. Why would I stop using credit cards? Any debt? Why should I stop using credit cards if I'm properly using them? It depends on what your definition of properly is. If this is fine with you, again, why do you need to ask? I don't get it. So, I mean, if you're paying it off and that's the way every month, and that's the way you want to do it. But also, everybody that has gotten credit cards has also said, I'm going to pay it off every month. And so there's been plenty of people that did that until they didn't, and then they have a high balance on that. And so it just depends on if you are in debt. It doesn't matter if you pay it off every month. The second you use the card, it's debt because you're not using your cash to do it. And so, especially if you're spending, maybe you're spending a little bit more to try to get more dollars of cash back over your life, then that's less money. Oh, excuse me, that's more money that you're wasting trying to chase cash back. But again, you can do whatever you want to. You don't have to be convinced otherwise. If you want to know the reasons, it's because that's risk. And Mr. Ramsey is risk averse. And he says no debt. And as I said, it's debt as soon as you swipe the card or use the card to buy anything. That's debt immediately. And granted, if you pay it when you at the end of the month, then you don't get charged any interest. And then you're out of debt again. But then if you're going to use the cards again, you're going to go right back into debt. And so that's up to you if you want to play the debt game. And so the part of baby step 0 is where you decide you're not doing debt anymore. You're going to pay yours off, and you're not going to ever do any more debt except for perhaps a house for mortgage that you live in. So that would be the reason would be risk. Because you're talking about the properly using them. A lot of people have thought they would properly use them forever, and then they did. So it's just more risk to even have that as a possibility. So if you cut that out, then you can't. And so a lot of people don't understand that either. That is the big thing about the baby steps. This is a plan that everyone can do, even the more disciplined people, even the people that are more structured, and the smarter people. Guess what? The smarter people will do even better at doing the baby steps, but everyone can do these steps, and be very successful. So, Dave likes to say that none of the millionaires he interviews says he made his fortune out of from cash back or rewards points. That's not how you get it, And of course, people are going to argue, well, why wouldn't I take another $100? Why wouldn't I do that? And again, you can do that. You don't have to run your life through Ramsey or the baby steps. But I mean, and most people know this already. They know the reasons, I'm assuming, and it's because of debt. But if you didn't know the reason, it's because debt is risk. And so Mr. Ramsey's debt averse. And so I don't know if you heard of Dave Ramsey before, he's the anti-debt guy. And I don't care how you think about it, but it is debt the second you use the card. And so that would be the reason why. But again, you're welcome to do it your way. keep doing it your way because it's your life and your money. And so God be with you and much luck to you. You can do it your way. Your way is not proven, though. Your way doesn't have a 30-year track record and not millions of cases of success stories, such as Mr. Ramsey does. So, but you can do whatever you want. Alrighty. Baby steps 1, 2, and 3 in order, one at a time. No doing higher steps early. Apparently, I have to put that in because people don't understand, or they don't want to understand, more likely. Steps 4, 5, and 6 in order at the same time as each other. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, and you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me if you have money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track. Calendly.com/coachstevemoney is where you schedule that. You can email me about coaching or anything else on my YouTube channel, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, donations can go to $CoachSteveMoney. Alternatively, donations can be a Walmart gift card, and you would make that out to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams. This stream, of course, answering your financial questions, is Saturday and Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And there's the Ramsey Show After Show. And the next two of those are going to be this Tuesday, July 30th, and this Thursday, August 1st. And probably it may change, but I'll generally probably try to keep doing it every Tuesday and Thursday, probably. Until I decide to change it. And if I do try to make a change like that where I'm not trying to do that anymore, I will, of course, let you know. Alrighty. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And of course, make smart financial decisions every day.